Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavelich, away in the Grove, the Big Sexy, and our two special guests today, everybody. And I'm telling you, special, okay? When I say this, this is Lance Gibson Sr. and Lance Gibson Jr. And I'm telling you, they're on a quest. And I promise you, everybody, you'll find out at the end of this episode what the quest is. But pay attention and listen closely.
First, I want to say which one's junior and which one's senior.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We have two extra guests on here tonight, so we're excited. One in Vancouver and one in Costa Rica. So yeah, we want to kind of get through the story of why we have a father and son on this show. But without jumping too ahead, we're going to get pretty deep in this episode. So stay tuned, pay attention, because we're going to talk about things that have maybe what you think maybe has nothing to do with going on in your life and fighting even or any of that, and how a spiritual journey can maybe make all the difference. Mark, why don't you start and just kind of lay out what you've seen so far?
I'm on a 10-kilometer hike today, and the only thing I can think about is fishing. And it's literally crazy. And the reason why I'm going to tell you about fishing, because when I was younger and I lived in Ontario, I used to pick my son up at school when he was like 10, 11 years old and tell the teacher he had a dentist appointment. And so I would take him from the dentist appointment. Him and I would go fishing. Mother would come back to pick him up from school, and he wasn't there. And they'd say, this guy came and picked him up and said he was taking to the dentist, but he's gone to the dentist like 8 weeks in a row, and so I obsessively love fishing to the point of like, I stopped fishing to play golf. So I golf now instead of fish. You have to pick one. Yeah. You can't do both. Yeah. Then you'll do nothing. And the crazy part is Jesse is a very high-level fly fisherman. Nice. Yes. And I see you guys fishing, and it literally almost brings me to tears. I'm not even joking, because I'm so like, wow. Like the memories bringing me back. And when the two of you are fishing together with me, my son and myself, I'm like, this is special. But I think you guys are on a whole nother level when it comes to fishing.
No, we don't. My dad. I don't know about that. But my father taught me and taught Junior as well, and it's been passed down. And it's a way that we provide quality food for the family. But it's like it's a spiritual thing when we're on the water as well. And we live in BC, where you have so many species of salmon and fish and cod and prawns and crab that. Man, it's just beautiful up there. So
I grew up on Vancouver Island, so yeah, I love it. Yeah. That's where I grew up fishing in the Cowichan River. Nice. It is a spiritual experience. Yeah. It's great you say that, because I have always connected. I take photos and stuff, but I love connecting with the outdoors, and it does, ground you. I know that's a term that people throw around today, but explain what it does for you when you're out there. Everything's going crazy on in your life back home. Things are moving, but all of a sudden you're out on the water.
For me personally, I find it really makes me hone in and focus on, obviously the ability to catch a salmon's not just simple. You can't just chuck whatever down there and hope that they bite your line. I tend to do everything to science. Not as much of a science as a fly fisherman, obviously. That's totally different. But as a saltwater fisherman, I tend to really hone in on exactly what depth they're at, where all that, and it allows me to actually center and focus on something entirely different than just mixed martial arts or whatever else. I find that really grounds me in that sense.
Yeah, I think that just being on the water, fishing is one thing. Just going, it's a process of being out there and be able to be with my son, and I call it my church, really. So people like we do take special people out, but it's like people go, oh hey, can we come out with you this time? It's like, well, I don't ask you to come to church. Why you come out ask me to take you out fishing? Because I
Yeah.
will,
So
but
true.
it's
Yeah.
like that's what it is for us. That's what it is for us. So when we get in that water, man, we're seeing killer whales. We're seeing we're just in the vibration of the water and the fish. You know when the bite's on, when it could be completely off, and you'll feel it.
Yeah.
And you know when the bite's on, and it's like, oh, Junior, we're gonna hit this corner. We're in a corner. We're gonna hit it. We're gonna get a bite right now. Bang! It's on. It's just
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. Like I totally relate to that too. It is, when you have so much other stuff going on, it's awesome to have a focal point that is different, but it's still challenging. Cause that's the one thing too, I find is like, I can't distract myself with something not challenging. And with fishing, like you have to learn stuff. You have to know stuff. Yeah, sure, you get lucky and things like that, but you have to learn if you're really going to do it a lot. How do you take fishing and mixed martial arts? Does it help each other? Does it actually lead you to something that can help you in mixed martial arts?
You want to go first, that or
I feel
Oh,
okay, yeah. I feel it does because it's sometimes it's calm, cool, and collective, and that's how a fight goes. But sometimes in a matter of 10 minutes, it turns around. We're in like swells. We're in like 25 to 30 knots winds, and I'm like, I got my son out here, dude. I got to get him home.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous. So it's like you're being calm.
Froze up there for a sec. He's in Costa
Under
Rica.
pressure, and then you're being calm. We got to be calm. It's just, it is what it is. It's just, it actually, there is a lot of similarities actually. Now that I think about it, I never thought about it, but there is, because it can turn like that out there, and the frenzy's on, and you got to be able to double headers, triple headers. We're doing this and that, and then it's smooth sailing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I had the fishing thing was driving me nuts because the correlation of me and my son fishing. I'm hiking today.
Yeah.
And I'm hiking and I'm thinking of my son who just had his first grandchild, and
Nice.
and I'm hiking and I'm thinking of this little kid, and I'm like, I'm going to take this kid out of school, and his mother's going to yell at me for doing it, right? And my wife, the grandmother's going to try to smooth it over because they know I'm a little bit crazy. So they're like, he's going to pick him up from school. He's going to take him fishing, and he's going to learn more fishing. And I'm going to say this out loud, and teachers get mad all the time when I say this. I love teachers. I love schooling. I think it's great. But I guarantee if I ask Lance Gibson Jr. if you learn more from your dad fishing than you did ever at school.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Way more. The life experience is much more valuable, I think.
Yeah.
That you'll use use that,
exactly.
right? So literally, but I didn't want to talk about fishing because we could did an hour-long show on fishing today. I knew that for sure. But see, I'm curious. What I'm curious is because your beautiful wife was on our show one time, Lance, and we don't have a lot of females on our show on purpose because most can't carry the conversation. And it's not disrespecting females. I'm talking about we're talking about sports, right? And we could end up talking about NFL. We could end up talking about whatever. And some people are not. When your wife was on the show, she was absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we've literally had 3 females on the show, 3 in 2.5 years, and she crushed it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I knew she would because she came on and she talked about not just about training and fighting and, but what the mindset is, the mental toughness, what it really takes to get to a certain level, which she's got to.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a tough one, man. He's got it all. That one.
So, so Junior, what you have parents that are in the show. They've been very successful. How do you, as a child growing up, does that shadow overwhelm you when you're younger, even now maybe, or is it always just been like, yeah, I'm going for this because these people are like this in my life?
It's really interesting because we pulled up a lot of videos from when I was a kid, and I kind of got to watch my first grappling tournament, for instance, and it allowed me to like really go back to that time because obviously my memory is not like super good of everything that happened, but seeing it in that video and being able to, seeing it in that video. Sorry, I just had to tell them to be quiet. Julia to be quiet in the background. She's making noise.
We've had weird
and
stuff
she was
on this show.
really just she's distracting me, trying to distract me. So basically, in that video, I noticed like I was just so used to being around my dad training, and it was just so much a part of me that like I'm like, you watch me like stretching, I'm by myself on the mat stretching. My dad's filming me from the stands, and he's going to be coaching me in a second, but I'm just stretching, warming up, like kind of like not nervous, not anything, and I was like just ready to go. And I think that's kind of just been my personality in general. So like growing up, having my dad as a role model, obviously growing up, I mean, that's what all I talked about in school. My dad's the toughest dude on the planet, basically, you know. And Julia, obviously, as well. I'm like, she's a freaking Canadian champion kickboxer. And then as she continued to build in the MMA, it was just really inspiring, obviously. And for me, that helped propel me to be more of myself, I think, in what I do, and allowed me to just shine as who I am, watching them be able to do that.
Can you be the Canadian that goes to the UFC and just doesn't just compete? You know what I'm trying to tell you? You know what I'm trying to tell you? There's so many I see now. And unfortunately, we live in a city. We live in a city where there's 10 retired UFC fighters, and all of them are like got normal jobs. Nobody knows who they are, because when they went to the UFC, they just wanted to get to the UFC. Okay. And to have, like, I can't even imagine having the knowledge of your father and Julia and everybody around you, and the training facility that you have. And this is the time that Uncle Mark's going to put some pressure on you. Okay. So no, I want you to take the pressure though. I want you to take it. And I want you to, you know, when people say, are you living in your dad's shadow? So what? So what if you are? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm living in my dad's shadow. Great. Other guys are like, oh, I'm living in my dad's shadow. I need counseling. You know what I mean? I don't think you're that guy, because I think your dad probably beat the pussy out of you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. There's nothing wrong with saying that, because it's the way it is. Because I know your dad for 25, maybe more years. I don't even remember how long I know him for. And what I'm trying to tell you is, I know his training. I know how he trains people. I can tell by your movement. I could tell by how you're moving your head. Like every MMA fighter on the planet, as you know, leaves their head right here. Every MMA fighter goes straight back, straight in, straight back, straight in. You don't. Oh, why is that, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, I watched the training tape and I'm like, oh, okay, he's doing something, you know, not different, but not like everybody else. So all these great trainers, and I know them all, you know, but your dad was never put in that conversation with Greg Jackson and all these other guys. But I knew all the time that your dad was at a level maybe even past them. But your dad never went, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, you know? You get what I'm saying? Because if you, your dad could be in a training room with all those guys, and your dad's not going to say nothing, and they're all like talking about how to hold pads or how to do this or how to do that, and your dad's always going to sit there and not say anything, right? But his level of training is like so high that you can tell by the way you move.
I totally, I agree with you. I don't, and I appreciate the pressure that you're going to put on me. Like, I appreciate it, because it's totally true, especially with a lot of Canadian fighters in the UFC. It's I think fighters in general in the UFC their goal is so much getting there that they don't do anything when they are there.
Yeah.
And what happens is, when you do that, like, what's the point in keeping you on? You know,
but
it's
Lance,
why
is
set
that?
yourself apart.
But why is that though? Why is it now we're watching UFC now and we don't have no one to watch anymore? You ever notice that? Like, I love the UFC, but if John Jones isn't fighting, if McGregor doesn't fight anymore, if Diaz brothers don't fight anymore, and we got one or two other guys, you go, okay, I'm going to watch that. I got people saying to me, "Hey, did you watch last UFC?" I'm like, "No, I didn't. I was out to dinner with my wife. I didn't even think about it." Why can't you be that guy? Why can't you? And I'm not saying you have to sit there and talk crap. Like people think all the time, oh, you gotta make up some spiel or whatever. No, I ran the MFC for 16 years. Your dad can verify it. I wasn't a real lunatic in real life, but I was for 16 years because that got me all the attention, got me the TV deals, got me huge sponsorship deals. You know why? Because my beautiful wife of 37 years looked at me and said, if you don't get on your soapbox and start telling everybody what's going on, we're not going to go anywhere with this. And she was 100% right. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you have to talk trash. I'm not saying whatever, but you got to pick a character that you're going to be, and you got to be doing it every day for you to get to us. Because as we found out, fighting's not enough anymore. It's not. Have we not noticed that? We watched you fight. We know you're good enough to be in the UFC. Why?
Yeah.
Why are other people there and you're not?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? First off, like, what do you think? Like, other people there, why not you?
I think the world hasn't, unfortunately, in the organization I fought for before in Bellator, I didn't get exposed to the world as much as I should have, I think. And that's okay. That's okay. It's all good. Because when I'm in the UFC, that's going to be everybody's going to know who I am. And the reason they're going to know who I am is because I'm going to set like you said, in my movement alone, like in the movement that we're doing constantly, it's not just like going to the gym and just throwing a jab cross hook. It's constantly expanding access to my own my own abilities, my own movement, where my feet are placed, where my head's going, and constantly being creative in the sport of mixed martial arts. That's what's missing. That's what's exciting about like a Sean O'Malley or
there you go.
Israel Adesanya, or it's the creativity that inspires people to be like, wow. Like at the end of the day, we're performers, we're entertainers. If you can't move your body in a spectacular way, in the simplest form of speaking about it, like say a dancer, if they're not moving their body in a very
specific way,
specific way, people are like, oh, who cares? So it's kind of the same thing in this sport. What we've kind of gotten away from is the expansiveness of mixed martial arts. Nobody's using everything. Nobody's utilizing the
Junior. Did you notice that you only could name like 3 or 4 people though? Because it's true what you just said, and so can we. We're the same way. We're like, okay, let's O'Malley, a little bit of John Jones, and we're like we're Israel Adesanya. But you look at like other fighters, you're like, how is this even possible? I get what you're saying, but you have to translate that now on social media constantly. And I don't care who knows. Your one video, it went minorly viral, which is great. It went viral, but I don't want you to sing for your supper, man. I don't. It almost pisses me off when I watch it. I told Jesse that too. I'm like, this kid's legit good, Jesse. And what do I know about MMA? I don't swear. I don't swear anymore. But I was this close today because when I watch you, I'm like, really? And we're looking for what now? Like in MMA, you know what I'm saying? We had Ray Sefo on our show weeks ago, right? He's PFL president. And we were talking about the same thing about how literally the word martial arts is no longer in mixed martial arts. Like it doesn't actually exist. It's like this is MMA. This isn't mixed martial arts anymore. We'll just call it MMA because you got to take out the martial arts, the artistry of doing it.
Senior, what is something that you say to your son that you wish you didn't have to keep saying? I like this question.
Me too. I'm gonna check that one off.
I think kind of it used to happen. Now it's off, but it's not a bad thing. But it's like don't always try to kill him
Mm.
in there. Because if something happened to Junior's ready to kill him, I said, sometimes play with your food.
Yeah.
You know, and
I like
go
that.
for the kill.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go and kill him because it's gonna happen. You know, and you'll see it through his career. He's got it now. I don't really have to say that anymore. But that was a point in time. I'm like, not every punch has to kill him. Not every strike's gotta kill him. You don't have to kill him because you will. You'll eat him when you want, when it's time. You know, play with him a bit.
I like that. I want Junior. You should stick that in your brain cell and never forget that play with your food mentality. Because
That's cool. I like that's awesome.
You imagine if you have
that.
If you imagine if you have that kind of skill level, you can play with your food.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. In the same time, your dad's saying one thing. He's also praising you to the highest level. Because if you can play with your food at this level, the level you're at right now, can you imagine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're in a holding pattern right now. You should never go sign. If I were you, I wouldn't sign with any of these new organizations. I'm not going to name any of them on the show, and I wouldn't sign with PFL because that's gonna. It's just, and I love Ray Sefo.
Yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
love, one of the nicest guys in MMA. But what I'm trying to tell you is what you're doing right now, and no more videos about you singing for supper. Only videos I want to see you is yeah, and I got it. But but I want you to show and don't do nothing. Show, don't do nothing. Show, and you know what? Do me a favor. You tag my name in every post, but you hide my name. Don't put my name on it. I don't want you to put my name. I don't need the praise. Bury my name, and I will share every post that you make. But I have the courage to tag everybody of those people, and I just said those people. I will share it till you are in the UFC. And then you can see if I'm full, and then you can see if I'm full of crap or not, right? You can say, "Oh, this guy said this on the show," and we'll see. Maybe I am, But but I just can't stand to watch something when I know better. Listen, when I know better than 99% of the people out there, we're not talking about. If you want to talk about fishing, guys, I'm on the low pole here, okay? But what I'm trying to tell you is, when it comes to this, that's what drove me nuts. That's why I had to have you both on the show, because I know if your dad's here and you're both here, first of all, the world needs to know about your dad, the level of training he's at, like, and his level that he can do things at, which he'll never tell anybody. And then they have to know that your 9-1 record isn't really a 9-1 record. It's more like a 14-1 record. You know what I mean? And that the sport needs you more than right now, especially right now.
Yeah, this is the time.
Like today, because with the and there's nothing wrong with the UFC. I'm just saying we're not really watching anybody right now. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not.
I don't really care. I don't really care about anyone, and that's what I want to do. I want to care about someone again, and that's what I think. Like, I think the story between, like, it's awesome to have a father-son on here because there's a bigger story. We watch the NFL, and we know that we don't care about the 400-pound lineman, but they tell a story about where he grew up and his mom was sick, and then you're like, oh man, I love this guy, and that's what I feel with you guys. Like, there's a unique opportunity of not only like one individual, but now lineage that is an amazing story. And before the show even started, Senior and us were talking, and there's a spiritual component that both of you carry that is super important in everything you do. And we touched on it with fishing, we touched on it with MMA, but now there's like an overarching thing that we want to discover about all of you, and how that takes you from today or in the past and brings you to today. Because, a lot of people, I think in this time that we're in, it's kind of a crazy time out there. People are looking for something a little more real, a little deeper, and in a lot of cases, a lot deeper, but than what we've been used to. Why don't you guys talk about that? And then, maybe Senior, you start with that part of your journeys, and then Lance, how you reacted to that, as you started growing older.
Okay. Well, I think it all came to a boiling point over about 2 years ago. I actually we'll start about. I had my gym. I had all the top fighters. They all were in the MFC. Mark knows that.
Yep.
Mark I've had a relationship with him for a long time. A lot of the best fighters in North America. And then I started teaching these fighters, and when you're at the top, you get a lot of people that are attracted to you and that come to you.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing I'm building great fighters, but some of these people that I'm building aren't good people.
Yeah.
And I had a direction where I had to go, and I had built a big stable of guys, and this is actually probably not many people know this story, but and Mark will remember who the people are. I don't even have to name them, but I had a bunch of guys and their characters from all over, and you can be a rough character in the street, but you can still be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
But I started teaching a lot of people, and a lot of people weren't good people, and when you do that, they can turn on you. And I had a party for one of my students who survived the tsunami, and I took out all the mats, and I put nice tables, and I had wine and this and that, and I had all these people, and everybody wanted to be with Lance Gibson, and they came to the gym, and I fed everybody and had a party, and there was alcohol involved, and interesting. I always had video surveillance, so I kind of put it all together after I figured it out, but I kind of had an intuition, and a group of the guys were kind of bitter that I had built up. Maybe one of them had a loss or whatnot, who knows, and blame me. That's the story of being a coach.
Yeah.
And they sent one of their henchmen at the party to attack me in my party. And these are students that I've trained for 5 years, and these are so-called bad characters, and I was, talking to somebody's wife at the health bar or something like that, and music was playing, and then all I remember is somebody cold shot hit me in the side of my head, and I'm like, and the guy was about Mark will remember who he is, bald guy, about 6'6", 300 pounds, and had a tattoo on his head named Insane or whatever, and well, he forgot before I was a martial artist, I was somebody else.
Yeah.
And they all forgot. People can they can pretend, but when it's in your blood, or if I'm a warrior, I do what I do.
Agree.
Yeah.
I turned around and I ended up taking them out, and I actually put them in a coma for 4 days in my own gym. And that's where they changed. That's where everything changed in my life. I was like, this was a turning point. It was self-defense, this and that, and I had video, so I was protected, but the guy came out of the coma and this and that, and all of a sudden the team split, and I had nobody left but Julia and maybe one other fighter. She stayed with me, and everybody all left, and opened up a grand finale of gym, the revolution of martial arts,
Yeah.
and and
About $1 for every one of those.
To me, I'll die on my sword, so it doesn't really matter. I don't fear anything, so it didn't really matter. But thank God that he came out of his coma and stuff. I didn't go to jail for that. But as you saw, it was actually the first time I did see them all was at MFD, and I was with one of my. I'm not sure if I was with Jules. I think she was with me. It was just me and her maybe, and about 8 or 9 of them were walking towards me, and I was at the MFC in Edmonton. And I went straight for them all. And well, they pretty much you back down and all that. And because they know it's in your spirit. It's not, you can fake it. You can be in numbers, but it just doesn't matter. I was doing a good thing and you guys were doing the bad thing. So that kind of thing it changed me as a martial art instructor. It changed me as a person. I will never teach another scumbag in my life ever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah.
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 And that kind of changed my whole gym situation. So then as life goes on, things go on. I haven't been my business. I'm getting Jules to the top and all that. And what changed? I had a lot of pressure because I'm negotiating $1 million contracts. I'm running a gym. I'm building Junior's career. My dad just passed away. Hey, Suki. Hey, my dad just passed away. And he was my best friend. We battled cancer for 8 years. Every dime I had, I put into my dad's recovery. And when I lost him, I was at a boiling point. And I've always been spiritual. I've always done sweat lodges with the indigenous and meditated and do things like that. And I needed something higher for me because I honestly, I don't think I'd be here if I didn't go on this journey that I did. The stress was taking me to a point that I couldn't take anymore. I wasn't myself. And a counselor just wasn't for me, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it could be for a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I've been to hell and back 3 or 4 times. Like, what are you going to tell me to do? Like, honestly, you know, I need somebody's a higher power to tell me what I need to do. So my wife's always told me, you know, I've always talked about going to Peru, and if I was always interested in doing ayahuasca. And my wife said, you know, it's time, Lance. It's life or death now for you.
Wow.
You got to go. It's like, and I was at the point where I don't want to leave my family. I worried. Lost my dad. I don't want to lose my mom. I don't want to lose my gym, my son, my wife, this and that. And then she's like, no, you're going, and booked the tickets for me. And I had no choice. And that was a year ago to this week. Wow. And I went to Peru and went on a solo soul journey. And I went into the jungles of in the Sacred Valley, and sat with the Shabibo healers for a week-long sessions, and 4 journeys I went on. And I'll tell you, brother, I saw something, man.
Yeah,
I learned something. I felt something. And one journey, I'm lucky enough that I'm spiritually connected and open. But the first journey I had, I was fixed.
Wow.
Like I was like, it was like you started out the journey where you go there and we're up in the mountains. You're on a special diet. You know, you're meditating, you're journaling, and you're trying to do what your intentions are. And I have these healers in front of me, and you do your proper counseling, because this is no joke. It's not easy. It's not, and it's hard work. Like, I was beat up the next day. I felt like I was in a football game and an MMA fight.
All at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was I saw things that I needed to fix in my life. I let go of so much grief that I had from my father and worry I had for my family, that I woke up I remember I calling, and you can ask Junior and Jules. I'm a good guy, but I don't say sorry too often. I just do it with actions. And I called them up. It was midnight, and back home, and I called them. I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said, I haven't been present. I've been worrying too much. I'm always got an angry look on my face because I'm trying to do for the family, but that's not doing for your family. You got to be present. You got to tell them you love them. You got to take care of. You know, I do take care of them, but it was a fact that I wasn't present, and that brought me back to who I was and got my true soul out of me. And it was like, and then after the next night, another journey, and then another journey, and then another journey, and then by the end, I was floating.
Wow.
I was floating and able to get back to what I always do, is manifest things. People say I can't do it. Yeah, I can. Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see. And then this last year, I stopped doing movies for about 8 years because of my father and all the crap I've been through. I hit 3 movies, 4 commercials last year, negotiated some fantastic contracts for my wife, talking to Sean Shelby for Junior. He's on the radar. We're just waiting for that opportunity. And amongst other things, business deals that I've done. I've never been more sharp in my life. And I'm just telling you, it cured me, fixed me, and put me on the right path. And I'm back here now in Costa Rica this time with some other Shabibo healers. And I'm just here. If there's something that Mother Ayahuasca wants to heal from me, please take it from me. But otherwise, I'm here to manifest limitless abundance and just take it to the top, my whole family. And this is what I'm here to do right now.
That's awesome.
So talk to us about a year ago, and you get that phone call and stuff, and maybe up to that point, and what you felt in that time a year ago.
Me or Junior?
Oh, Junior. Me? Sorry, Junior. I want his response to what happened and how it changed and what you noticed.
I felt so, like my dad said, he does things in action, and I've known that about him my entire life. It's actually kind of made me very similar in that sense. And it was it felt really good for him to acknowledge that in that way. But I also heard him like take all the weight off, like take a lot of the weight off of his shoulder. I heard a lot of the weight off of his shoulders just through the phone. And I could feel his energy through the phone, which was quite interesting. And that's without FaceTime. That's just over like just hearing his voice. And that was a special experience. But since then, it's like just the frequency that he walks on. I mean, I've known him as who he is my entire life, you know, like going back to that story that he was talking about in the gym. And I wasn't there. I was younger at the time, obviously. And I've just always known my dad as somebody that I always can trust. And I could go to the scariest thing on the planet with this guy in my corner with me. I'm unafraid. There's no fear at all, because I know he's the toughest dude on the planet, and he's always been that for me. But to hear him flip to the opposite side and be able to open up his heart and like speak like that and feel how light he was, it really made me feel, well, one, happy for him, because everybody's on their own journey in their own life. And we have our family members and our close friends and everybody that's around us, but we can't live their lives for them.
No.
You know, all we can really focus on is our path and being the best us that we could possibly be. So it was really inspiring to see that.
Okay, so like, here's my question too: is, you know, as an MMA fighter though, you know, could the spiritual side of things be contributed to softness? Is that what people are scared of? Is because, you know, I find a lot of people, they don't talk about this until after the fact, way later. You know, before, they don't want anyone to know like that they think something else or believe something else. Correct. Or even are a little bit deep. It's like, oh, it's weakness. How do you guys answer that question?
Oh man, I'm still a bad dude, I'll tell you that. I'm always down for a good
Yeah,
fight.
that's right. Right. Yeah. Because that's my thing. Like, you don't have to be a dick.
No.
You don't have to be one. You can be.
No, you don't.
You can be the toughest dude in the world, and you can be the nicest dude in the world too.
Exactly. You know, and the creator or the universe or God gave me these weapons and these skills to do what I do, so I can teach people who don't, and show people that through my actions that I can do this, and I use my powers for good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's even more dangerous than somebody who is open in all aspects? You know, there's nothing. I see things. I see, you know, your clarity, you know?
Yes.
So it's just, for me personally.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that before. Oh, you know, you're going to get soft now.
Nah. Junior, what do you how are you going to go down the path that your dad's doing too? Like, how do you feel about all this for yourself?
I'm open to it. Absolutely. I'm open to being the best expression of myself.
Yes, that's good.
Possible.
Like that.
And I'll do whatever I can to do that. I think also with it, I think what happens in society nowadays is there's so much fake out there that we want to fake and make it seem like we're indestructible. But I think our strength, I always say strength is in vulnerability.
That's
actually.
Good. Yeah.
In your ability to express, like, if I just sit here and I act like I'm this tough, unbreakable thing, what happens when I go out on a big stage and I think I'm unbreakable? Everybody thinks I am, and then I don't. Something happens, right? And then I just set myself up for a big sense of ego that is running. And I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think in our humanity and in our vulnerability, our strength lies there. And being able to say, I'm human, but in who I am, I'm going to be the best expression of myself.
Yeah. To me, like, I totally agree with you. Like, to me, like, someone like tough that says, hey, I was wrong, I apologize. Like that was, to me, that's strength.
Yeah.
To me, like, actually like humbling ourselves, especially as men too, because sometimes we do like feel that a lot of guys feel that you can't because you show weakness. And no, like, but I know that when I like actually humble myself and like go and talk with someone about a situation, it does make me stronger. It makes me, and then you actually get to restore a relationship. There's a chance of that anyway. There's a chance to restore a relationship.
Yeah.
If you come at it the other way, well, what do you expect? That bridge is gone.
Well, it's been programmed like that our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
As men,
for sure.
like it's it's funny. We talk about mental health for men all the time.
Yeah.
It's you guys know it's bullshit, right? Because every year we're talking about it, but most men won't talk to other men about mental problems and mental illness. Listen, if I love listening. Listen, sometimes I get caught listening my own show, and I'm listening to the show, and I'm listening to Lance. Listen, Lance, Lance Sr. When you say, see, because you're talking to people that suffer, see, Jesse and I suffer from mental illness before it was cool. Okay. So you know what I'm saying right now, right? Most people don't know this. I only said it on the show because other people said it so much that, and Jesse brought it up one time because he knows about it. I never brought it up with nobody ever. Nobody ever knew, but my wife used to have to pour literally a milk glass of Grey Goose just for me to get out of the house.
Yeah,
you know, like she would pour that for me because I don't want to leave my house. My house is a fortress. Video cameras everywhere, security systems. It's like, oh, I'm so safe here. The second I leave this house, you know what I'm scared of? I've always been scared of one thing. I'm scared of God's favor. I've been blessed like you've never met anybody in your life. Like I am blessed I'm in church every Sunday because I don't have to go to church. I need to go to church because if I don't go, I'm scared. I am fearful. I am scared. I'm scared of God's favor because my whole life since I was a little child, I was blessed. How do I get everything? I don't have I don't have a college education. Zero. I spent one day in university, realized I make more money than everybody here already, so I'm leaving. But that's my stupid arrogance. That was my stupid arrogance thinking that. And then I went out and did all the stuff I did in life. And I'm like, how did this happen? I'm not that smart. And once again, when my wife made me realize again, because I never found God, he found me. I ran away from him my whole entire life. He pulled me back. Get over here. What are you doing? Yeah. Don't you see everything I gave you in your life? You think you're that smart? I'm not. So what I'm trying to say is when people say about you think it's a weakness, you know, like, or it's this, the power I get from it is I can only equivalent it to Papa eating spinach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can only, it's like, it's been my trick my whole entire life. People go, Mark, how did you get this? And how did you get this? And when I sign deals with people, I run out to my backyard. I look up and I'm in tears in the middle of my backyard oh yeah, wait a second. With my golf hole in my backyard.
Yeah.
You understand? Like,
yeah.
I was on my own when I was 14 years old, man. And how did I get all this stuff? Like, it's not like I'm so lucky. You know what I mean? I've known that my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you, the power that you have with that, and when you bring it to places, when you do get to the UFC, because I promise you, Lance Jr., you will be in the UFC. I promise. Forget about Sean Shelby. Forget about Dana White. Forget about Mick Maynard. I'm telling you, there's some things you can stop. Listen, we had Cyril Gann on the show. Cyril Gann. He wanted to fight for the championship. I said, Cyril, after you're done on this show, you're going to fight for the Jesse. Tell the truth.
Yeah,
did
no,
fight
he
for the
did.
championship?
He fought.
Terrible. He did terrible because you know why? And I told him the same thing. You're so worried about just getting there, you forgot about winning it.
Yeah.
You know, and same with you.
Yeah.
Forget about going to the UFC. Just keep working your ass off. And when you get there, you'll never have
Yeah.
to explain or do another video again to tell people why you should be there, because you should be there.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
should be.
Sorry about the rant. Sorry about the rant.
No, it's
Yeah.
But I'm saying, because I'm watching
Yeah.
something and I know something and I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, that makes sense there. You know what I mean?
It's not a no.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
But I really do think that, just
Yeah.
even talking to you guys for like 45 minutes here, like, there's something different. And, we usually, most of our guests, we have this quality, but if people are out there are wondering what the je ne sais quoi is of these guys, well, they have a grounding in something that is bigger than themselves. And it's not a weakness. It's not something you need to be ashamed of. It's not something you need to run away from. Embrace it. And anyone, like, I promise you, junior and senior will tell you the same thing. Run towards it, because it's life. And as you do, you'll discover the true nature that you were intended to be, I feel. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough journey. A lot of it's uphill. A lot of it is humbling yourself and admitting faults and letting go of things that you don't want to necessarily let go of right away. But promise you, and you're looking at 4 people here on your screen right now that are doing this actively still to this day, and can all tell you and all attest that it is worth it, every second of it.
Lance, that you're back doing movies and stuff again is so great to hear, because I remember it when you were younger and you're doing stuff with Jackie Chan and you're doing all this cool stuff. And I'm like,
so cool.
That's usually the role. Like, you just keep going, right? Like, but you stopped, and I was like, why did you stop? And I'm glad. It's funny. I was at an event one time at the River Cree, and you were there. And my wife's like, Mark, that's Lance is right over there. And I went to go see you, but you left already. You had a fight. I don't know what happened. And we came late, and we were sitting there, and my wife pointed you out, and I ran backstage, and you were gone. And I was like, oh man, like, you know what I mean? I was just weird, but I was like, oh, we're going to get him on the show. And Jesse's like, well, how long do you know him for? I go, oh my God, I can remember. I'm guessing 25 years. Yeah. And I mean 25 years where I can't remember what I had for breakfast today, but I can remember having cocktails with you at after parties, and you and you just were so funny, and it was just so fun. And I don't do much of that anymore, but I'm saying is to me, I remember stuff like that, like it was yesterday.
Yes. Good times, man. Good times. Good memories back then. Man.
Yeah. We didn't even know what we were doing. We were just like, oh, yeah. People are like, oh, MFC. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing, man. I just want to put on fights. This was cool.
They were great.
And then when I had people start flying in, like from other big TV places, and Mark Cuban and all these other people, I'm like, what are you guys doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. My wife was doing the deals. I was like, I don't want to talk to nobody. And once again, I didn't want to talk to people. People thought that, but when I'm in the confines of my own stuff, I'm okay. But when I go outside of that, not so much.
Yeah. I feel you on that, man.
Yeah, not so much.
I want to thank you guys so much for joining us and spending your time with us tonight. But I want to finish your segment a little different today. Usually we ask our guests to like say something to the audience, but I'm going to do it a little different. I want first, senior, say something to your son, and then your son respond to your dad, and like kind of go that way. Let's leave each other with something, and I think by osmosis we'll all get something out of this.
Yeah. I want to say that Junior brought up, we're in the mix of moving right now, and I brought all the VHS tapes, and I got like all these tapes, and I got to turn these things. They're going to deteriorate, and I started pulling out memories after memories after memories of him on my shoulders at the gym, being at the gym, learning how to walk at the gym, crawling over other equipment, doing the animal drills, hitting the mitts. 3 years old in class when you're supposed to be 6.
Yeah.
Doing the memories, and I knew there was always something special, and he was always I hear myself. I don't want to hear myself. I don't want to hear my voice, but I hear me behind the camera saying these things, and I knew he was destined for greatness. And that was instilled to me from my dad, and I just knew it, and it was just, he was going to be somebody that's going to inspire people and change the world. And it's going to be through the martial arts and besides to do. And I want to say to the little boy, I love you. I want to hug you because I never did as much as I wanted to back then because I always that gruffy dad to make him tough. But I love you, and I want to hug you. I want to hug that little boy, and I want to hug that man who is now going to be the future UFC champion.
Junior, why don't you say something to your dad?
Yeah. I guess. I mean, you you kind of stole the show, man. I can't really compete with that one. No, but I'm honored to be your son. If I were to say it in the most humble way, God bless me putting me in this world with you as my father and my mom as my mother, obviously. But you've inspired me in so many different ways. You've had my back in so many different ways. I trust you with all my heart, and I love you with all my heart. And that little boy that had the dad that was a little bit of a hard ass grew up to be the strong man that you intended him to be. And I'm going to do exactly what I was destined to do because I have faith in us, and nothing can stop this train because we're going to the top.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's so good. I thank you so much for doing that. And everyone watching, I hope you see that connection and realize that that's not just reserved for these two guys. You can have that connection with all the people that mean something in your life, and you should. And you
Absolutely.
should.
Jesse, I just had a vision of eating popcorn, watching Junior win the UFC championship, and Lance holding him up in the air, and Julia crying in the corner. And I'm just saying, I'm not, I don't,
She'll be
listen,
crying for sure.
and I don't have to take ayahuasca, guys. It's weird how it's the strange thing, man. God's giving me this thing when I see certain things, but it's only in MMA. It's in nothing else. It's in nothing. It's in nothing else.
Well, I want to thank both of you so much for spending some time with us tonight. And obviously, two class acts and tough as nails, but so genuine and humble that, I mean, you're role models to a generation. If you don't know that already, you already are. So, keep doing it. We really appreciate both of you, and we're so excited, Junior, to watch this escalation as you go into the UFC and start taking names.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you guys as well. Sure. Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys, and it was a great hour. Thank you very much.
Listen, guys, we're gonna part two will come out after he gets to the UFC. All right, everybody.
Yeah,
so
sure.
listen, so because I have literally about 47 questions I didn't ask today because I knew this was going to happen, and I knew that we were going to go over, and I knew this was, I was positive that was going to happen. And like I said, guys, we wish you the best, and God bless you. And like I said, Junior, get greedy with your social media. Get fanatical with it. Let everybody know. But like I told you earlier, anytime you do a story, tag me, hide my name, hide it, bury it in there. Don't let anybody see it. And I will share every post that you have until you get to the UFC. But I'll tag 50 people in it when I do. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. And thank you for having something that was really valuable throughout the entire podcast. Like that's different than anything I've ever been on. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Our pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks so much, Lance Gibson Jr. and Sr. for joining us. It's so cool. They're awesome dudes. Like, what can you even say? Like, every week we come back and we talk to people, and opening up about their journeys and really the inner workings of their hearts, which is what I really care about. Like we say on this, like we don't care about statistics, we care about people. And that's the truth. Like these are real human beings. These athletes that we all sometimes idolize are human beings too. And I love hearing the inner workings of what's going on in them before the sport.
And you did notice in the interview where Lance at one point said that he had to make a difference. Like he had to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go find something else because he was in a very dark place.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And that's it too. If you are in a dark spot, you can make a change, and there's tools out there to help you do that. But message us or message Lance Jr. Sr. And I know all four of us will respond to you. So if you are feeling that way, send us a message.
Definitely. And please don't forget about our great sponsors at Crystal Glass. Everybody, your clear choice for all your glass needs. Call 310 Glass or go to crystalglass.ca today.
Until next time, everybody, thanks once again, Lance Gibson Jr. and Sr. And that's Mark Pavelich. I'm Jesse Martineau. This has been the Me and Jesse podcast. See you next time, everybody.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse.